What's your day-to-day life like? What does an editor of a network do? Oh, by the way, 14 Emmys, right?
Yes, 14.
It's my boy right there.
Won a couple weeks ago. We won for best sports interview show, second year in a row. The show
Awesome.
that I edited, the feed one. Yeah, so really proud about that. Really just proud about being a part of Yes as a whole, because I started with them day one. I was one of the first people hired. I definitely was the first editor hired, and I basically came over from working with the Giants half the season and the NBA to working, full-time with Yes and growing with this company now for 20 years.
What do you do during the day?
So typically with the Yes Network, I can work on any project. I can work on promos. I can work on interview shows, which we haven't done since the pandemic, like Center Stage, like the show The Feed that we did. I work on a boxing show. And then most of my stuff is on the Yankees pregame show that airs every night, or the Brooklyn Nets pregame show. And I do a lot of nightly features. And a lot of times I'm asked to do the opening tease to opening day or the playoffs, which is really quick turnaround kind of stuff. So I'm honored that Yes has trusted me now for 20 years to put something in my hands that's basically going to be seen by the whole country. So it still really excites me to do stuff like this. I still sit in a room, I turn out the lights, and I listen for the music, and I make sure the music is there and the hits are there. So everybody at home can watch it with the sound turned down, or in a bar, and they're all talking and they don't even notice when the music hits and everything like that. But Joe warned me of that way back, that when you're television, people eat meatballs and stuff and they're watching the TV, they're not paying attention to where music and effects hit. But yeah, so I'll work on mostly Yankee stuff. Now we're doing the Brooklyn Nets. But I'm also a part of a lot of other projects here that come in all the time. We just finished a cooking show with members of The Sopranos. So we're trying to do all different things here. So a lot of the time I do work by myself though. It wasn't an overnight thing. I had to earn it, but it's been very rewarding.
You started out interning, kind of what is called today as a PA. Then you became an associate producer with me. And then you moved to become the producer.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, you learned editing. What was driving you that whole time to learn new skills, to evolve yourself? Because you kept making, your path was like this.
Yep. And you know what? I'm kind of like Forrest Gump. I was a lucky SOB. It's not like, Joe, my jobs were the New York Giants, which I loved as a kid. Then I moved on to the WWE, which is a whole different story. I mean, I never went home, but I loved all of it. I went from, helping on a production crew to helping in an edit room to going to get lunch for my favorite wrestlers. And I never minded anything. I loved it. I never went home. And, I was very fortunate there. And then I worked at the NBA. And then I get a job with the Yankees. So it's not like I'm working on pickleball. I've got a lot of great opportunities. So that's kind of what moved me along, is like, the interest level. And I'm like, I was very fortunate for all these opportunities, Joe. But it's one thing to be given something. You got to seize it, man. You got to seize it where your bosses don't want you leaving. They don't want you going somewhere else. Sometimes they have to. In the instance with the Giants, I needed full-time work. It was seasonal work, the NBA. And, you love that when you make an impression in a place where later on in your career, somebody goes, hey, Joe Ferro from the Giants told me I can call you up. I got a gig for you.
Right.
The word of mouth, Joe. Because when you make an impression on somebody, they know, oh, I got a good avid editor, in my head. So yeah, I mean, it really helped me learning at a young age, all the aspects of the business.
How are you able to balance it? And I know that if there's television on a holiday, somebody's working.
Yeah.
If there's a game on and, when you're supposed to, other people are on vacation, somebody's working.
Yeah.
So how have you been able to find that middle ground?
In the past, working on freelance jobs, I've worked Thanksgiving, I've worked New Year's Eve, I've worked everything. With the Yes Network, I say this now, for 20 years, they've given me a living. I've been able to be a father and raise my kids, and that didn't come easily. But I do know in the back of my head, sure, most days are 9 to 5, and I have a pregame show that comes on. But if I work weekends, like I used to work on the football show, the Joe Girardi show, stuff like that. But I also know in my head, you better make sure September's always crazy. Playoff run, always leave October open. Don't make any plans in March. April's opening day. The Emmy pushes in September when you have to start submitting Emmys. You know, it's just stuff like that that a lot of time. And I know that once the playoffs come, I'm doing a tease every day. So I'm coming in, I'm doing, you know, I have when that game ends to come in. And Yes is never one of those places to tell me, you better be in at this. I know that in my head. I know what time something has to be done. So I know times I have to step it up. For the most part, though, I've been very lucky. Yes has given me a job in television at a network in Connecticut, you know, because I moved my family up to Connecticut, and, you know, and I live up here, and I'm about a 20-minute commute away. And they know I'm always available. So the times that they do ask me to go over and beyond, I have no issue doing it. I have no issue because I'm a staff editor, which is very, very rare, Joe.
Right.
Back in the days, it was, you know, very rare. So I kind of know in my head, all right, you do your best work every day, but this is when you have to step it up. My family understands, never had an issue. So as long as your family understands that, it's a big part. Because I lost 2 relationships when I worked at WWE, 2 girlfriends. Because I'd ask, what time are you coming home tonight? I didn't know. I didn't know. I got to come home when the work is done. Luckily, I was in my 20s, though, you know, and it was a different time. So that's a great question. I'm glad you ended on that. Because a lot of people, a lot of places don't provide you the opportunity that Yes did. So I'm really thankful to this place. So I'll win them 14 more Emmys if I can. I'll make them look as good as I can. You know, I really love that they give me a lot of trust. And they basically say, take this and go with it.